Welcome to the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. Today's special guest is Teresa Roulette.
Welcome to the podcast, Teresa. How are you today?
Thanks, Jacqueline. I am great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Hmm.
Really appreciate it. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk to you about it's called Conversation with. And in our podcast, we want to start by going back and asking you what you wanted to be when you were when you're a little girl.
Yeah, that's a good question. I had to peel back many layers to go back to that point, and it's funny that the biggest memory that comes to mind is wanting to be a private investigator.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. I remember even how I made myself business cards. I had a I had a pseudonym, and
Oh, neat.
I was always investigating. Yeah,
Oh,
so
really? What was your
yeah,
pseudonym? Do you mind if
Page
I ask?
Turner. Page Turner.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I would carry my homemade business cards around with me, and I was under 10 for sure, under 10 years old. I would carry my business cards with me, and then I had a little toy gun, and
Oh,
I put them in a purse. So for
oh,
whatever reason, I felt I needed all of that in my role as a private investigator.
oh, that's cool. So were you a Nancy Drew lover then?
I can't even say that I was actually. That would make sense. But you know, reflecting on that, I think what I have carried forward into my adult life is just insatiable curiosity of the why and always asking why and always wanting to know more. So that's definitely one of my characteristics as an adult.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So how long did that interest last?
Oh gosh. Oh, probably a couple of years
Oh, yeah.
doing that. And then even in when it was time for me to go to university, the degree that I chose, it was a double major, and one of the majors was in justice and law enforcement
Oh,
because I had it in my mind that I would be either a lawyer or um, um, in politics or a criminologist of some sort. And then life just took me in a different direction. But as I tell my kids now, any education is not a waste of time.
oh, yeah.
It's one of those life lessons. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can never stop learning, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you grow up? Are you from Manitoba or are
I
you?
am. I born and raised in Manitoba and in Brandon, Manitoba specifically in the southwest corner. And then I left in my early 20s. Maybe I was 20, went to Winnipeg for a year and then moved out east and spent
Oh,
about 4 years in Montreal and Toronto.
oh,
And from there, I moved out to Calgary, where I lived in Calgary for, gosh, I think it was 8 or 9 years before
yeah.
moving back to Manitoba. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. I love Brandon.
It was, yeah, it was a good sized town to grow up in,
Yeah.
and it was wonderful to leave when I
Oh,
did at that age, you know, ready
yeah.
to stretch my wings and experience life. And then it's been a great place to come home and raise my own kids. I have
Yeah.
four young adult
Oh,
children now.
oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Um, so now what have you done with your career since you got out of university?
Well, I kind of fell into sales and marketing roles.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly in the corporate world, and then in between having kids, I produced various events. One was called A Day of Inspiration, and that was born from my roots. I am Métis, and after having left Manitoba for the years that I did. And then I kind of forgot about my heritage. And then moving back to Manitoba with my young children at the time, I was like, oh yes, this is what it's like being in Manitoba. So I ended up moving to a small town called Birdle,
Hmm.
Manitoba, and there was an empty, an abandoned, shut down residential school, an Indian residential school, sitting on top of a beautiful hill in Birdle.
Oh,
And that was really my inspiration. When I moved back, I wanted to yeah, create a day of inspiration. So that was an event for Aboriginal youth to um, help them envision a positive future
oh,
and to
wonderful.
surround them with possible role models. So I did that
That's fantastic.
for a couple of years in between having my babies, and then got back into the corporate marketing. And but then my inquisitive nature and always questioning why really reached its peak during the COVID years. I
Yeah.
actually, the shutdowns and lockdowns and rules and all of those things just really made me dig deep and wonder what the heck is going on here. Started doing a lot of questioning and going down countless rabbit holes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And really, I found I've always been a spiritual seeker,
Hmm.
just to help myself grow and become the best version of myself. And I really um, put the throttle down on that during early 2020 and in those pandemic years.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You bring up the pandemic. We moved from Ontario from in 2021, and I remember coming into Manitoba, where you're from, and it was locked down completely. There was the OPP and then the RCMP, I believe. They were
Mhm.
stopping people to see why they were going into Ontario because it was like right locked down. And
Yeah.
yeah, to get out, we couldn't live that way, so we decided to move at that
Hmm.
point. And yeah, so it does make you question everything, the pandemic and your why.
100%.
Yeah.
And I could have a whole offline conversation about that
Yeah.
whole that whole time.
Yeah.
But but honestly, for me, it blew things wide open and
Yeah.
made me honestly question absolutely everything that I had been conditioned to believe my whole life. And
Yeah.
really, my foundation was shaken. And I've always been interested in alternative healing modalities
Mhm.
um, and then always wanting, like, do I really have to go to a doctor
Right.
and obviously there is a place for that, but I started being intensely um, bothered by the power of the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
industry during that time. So I dug deep and was making my own remedies and
Oh, good.
all sorts of things and then that really opened up many more pathways into energy healing, which is what I've been practicing a
Oh,
lot of
good.
these last few years, and it's been probably one of the most rewarding and fascinating and deeply fulfilling
Yeah.
experiences that I've ever had probably in my whole life. It's completely opened me up and made me in awe, where once there was certainty and this is just the way things are, it's now like I don't really know anything
Yeah.
anymore. And just being an open vessel. And that's probably, going back to being a private, my pretend private
Yeah.
investigator self as a kid. It's like, well, why? Why are we being told this?
Yeah.
What's actually going on here? So
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, your energy healing, is it Reiki or is it something?
no, I have yet to learn that modality. I've been a client of Reiki and absolutely love it.
Yeah.
My first introduction to energy healing as a practitioner is a modality called integrated energy therapy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so there's over 35,000 certified practitioners across the world in something like 75 countries, and so I first got into that as a client and experienced such transformation that and knowing that this was the path that I wanted to merge into during and after my corporate life. So that's what I've been focused on building. And since then I've become an instructor of that
Okay.
modality as well. So I'm teaching others how to they can add that to their toolkit, or even the reason I got into it not only was the major transformation I experienced, but my kids and I went through quite a bit of trauma when I was with their father,
Mhm.
and so it was a modality that I wanted to use on myself and my kids,
Oh, good.
just really to empower ourselves and to save money on the pocketbook, rather
Yeah.
than going to healers all the time. Well, we can just do this ourselves, and it has been beautiful, beautiful, beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it's the alternative lifestyle just opens up a whole new avenue of learning, really.
Oh, it's,
You
I,
know,
it's amazing.
it
Yeah.
is, yeah. I often say every household should have a form of energy healer because,
Mhm.
it's so comforting. And like even if you're having a bad day, even I mean, you don't necessarily have to be in pain or just you're just off that one day. And it's kind of nice just to hold space with a person who is a practitioner of that kind and
Yeah.
just to yeah, take it in because it just puts everything into perspective.
It truly does. And yeah, and having somebody else that you can call on to be your support person is absolutely wonderful when you're feeling overwhelmed
Yeah,
or not in the right space to do
yeah,
it yourself. But then the other thing, I think you practice
I
Reiki,
do.
right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just even being given those tools that we can use on ourselves,
Oh,
that we can ground ourselves, we can calm ourselves, we can open up our connection to divine wisdom, and what a blessing.
yeah. I remember I spoke to a Reiki master the other day actually, and we got on the topic of why it's not taught in schools.
Mm.
And I said, well, you know what's funny? When I was in grade two, I remember my science teacher saying, okay, kids, now rub your hands together, quick, 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 and then slowly pull them apart. And you could feel the tug in your palm. And he said, that's your own energy. And it's funny because that stayed in my brain from that day on. Like I was so interested in it and I wanted to
Mhm.
learn more. And then it was introduced to me years later as Reiki. And it was like, man, he had the opportunity to teach it. Then why didn't he? You know,
Right.
but yeah, it's really amazing what we do have within ourselves, that can
Hmm.
help ourselves too.
And the thing is, we are all our own healers.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, and that's something I remind myself of constantly. Like, I am not the healer when I'm with a client. It's the
Right.
client that's the healer. And just because of what I've learned, I'm able to channel that energy and help an individual. But it's really only going to help them as much as they're willing to receive
Yes.
the healing as
Yeah.
well. So it's all fascinating.
Yeah. Okay, so now tell me a little bit about High Vibe.
So High Five Times so it is a website and print publication in its current formation, and that really came. I often describe it as the perfect marriage between my corporate marketing life and my energy healing. So I created that so that other energy healers, holistic practitioners, different esoteric way showers would have a place to. showcase what they do because it's not mainstream. It's not taught in the schools. And having said that, it is becoming increasingly more mainstream, I think, and it seems like it. But anyway, the short story is High Vibe Times is a platform to shine a light on people who work in energy, really, for the betterment of all.
Yeah, it's amazing publication. I'm in love with it myself. I love reading your the articles that you post on your social media, and I just think it's a complete go-to. You know, it's you get to read other women's stories, you get to, be introduced to other modalities. Like it's just very informative. I
I'm
love
glad you I'm
Yeah.
glad you've liked it. And I think there's a lot of synergy between what I'm doing with that and what you're doing with this
Yeah.
podcast and your various ventures as
Oh
well.
yeah.
It's just generally raising awareness.
Absolutely. And your event section as well. Like, I mean, that's fantastic because how many times do you want to find a certain event that is spiritually motivated? And they're hard to come by sometimes. Like you're searching on social media or whatever, but to have in a publication, and on your website is fantastic.
hmm And my goal is eventually that it would be across Canada,
Yeah,
but yeah, we're just very much in the baby steps right now. So it's featuring practitioners in Manitoba and Saskatchewan right now.
yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
wonderful. I love it. So listeners, go get your copy.
right. Thank you.
So what sparked your interest in what you're doing today, aside from the pandemic? Like, was there something inside of you?
Yes. It's always been empowerment, 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 empowerment. That people are the makers and creators of their own lives. We are, a lot of us fall into kind of a victim mentality, and where things are happening to us. But when we switch it to things are happening for us, and there's a radical responsibility in considering the fact that, well, if I am truly the maker and creator of my life, why did I just back into my neighbor's car? Like, what was that about? Like, honestly. And then, and then in hindsight, I look at that like I needed to meet her, but certainly it could have been handled in a more gentle manner
Yeah.
than backing into her car. But I like what Alex Ferrari on Next Level Soul often says. He says your soul whispers to you, it gives you a gentle nudge. And if you're still not hearing the whisper, still not hearing the nudge, then that's when the sledgehammer comes down and it's like, listen. So anyway, so yeah, to your question, it's about empowerment and moving away from poor me or victim mentality to truly considering like if it is true that we are the makers and creators of our life. How amazing is that? And how much power is in that?
Oh,
And to really sit with that. So that is what really lights me up is like everybody,
yeah.
we can heal ourselves. It's things aren't happening to us. Like if you just step into that vibration and start learning and reading and surrounding yourself with that knowledge base, it's absolutely incredible how life can change.
Absolutely. I have one question for you. Now, with what you have been through in your life and where you are today, what advice would you give 4-year-old Teresa?
Hmm. Wow. I would I would let her know that she is always protected and being guided and is surrounded with love and is love. Um, and That's a tough one. Kids have so much wonder, and sometimes things happen to them that can kind of extinguish that flame a little bit.
Yeah.
And I would just hug her, hug her, and let her know that everything is going to be fine.
Aw, that's lovely.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. So in every podcast, Teresa, or episode, we like to incorporate a bit of gratitude, and we feel it's important because we need to, lead by example, and if someone's needing a, kind thought or something, then we'll give them an act of kindness and teach them a little bit of gratitude. So what are you grateful for today?
Hmm. Well, I do think about that often because in my own path towards healing myself and empowering myself, forgiveness comes in often. Forgiving myself
Yeah.
for choices, forgiving the proverbial those who have trespassed against us, and really sitting with that. So I can honestly say that I am grateful for some of my life's biggest teachers, which were some of the most traumatic and trying events. I learned a lot. I stretched a lot, and still learning and stretching from experiences like that. So yeah, and that's easy to say looking back.
Yeah.
When you're in the thick of it, it's a little bit more difficult to see. And in retrospect, I can see how I have moved from feeling like I was a victim and things were happening to me
Yeah.
to really like, well, if I am the master and creator of my life, I created that somehow. Why on earth would I have created that? How was I a vibrational match to the things that were happening at that time? So I've it's taken a while
Yeah.
to work through all of that. So I guess the short answer is I'm grateful for everything, absolutely everything, the good, the bad. Um, I'm I am grateful, period.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I know you're very, very busy today, and we appreciate you being here. And we look forward to having you back because I'd love to continue this conversation with you. Is that okay?
Wonderful. I would love to, Jacqueline. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for joining us at the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast.